Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have a bit of an update on a story I reported on a while back. You may recall that I shared information about sexual assault allegations that were levied against an immigration and border detention facility in El Paso, Texas. Attorneys for several of the immigrant women alleged that numerous guards, including high-ranking officials, were harassing them and had sexually assaulted them, and that they used camera blind spots to get away with their horrific and depraved behavior. After the allegations surfaced and human rights attorneys filed complaints, the Inspector General for the Department of Homeland Security launched an investigation. But now ProPublica and the Texas Tribune are reporting that a key witness in the investigation has been deported back to Mexico. Even though after this all came out, the Inspector General originally requested specifically that ICE not deport her. And even though the woman said that she fears being targeted by drug cartels, the reason being this woman fled to the United States. She came here seeking asylum because she said that a high-ranking drug cartel member had sexually assaulted her in Mexico. And after she reported the attack to the authorities in Mexico, she was then threatened by the drug cartel. So she was quite literally fleeing for her life. So we sent her back. She traveled all the way here to get away from people who had assaulted her and threatened her life there. She's then assaulted here, and now we've sent her back. So civil rights attorneys filed a petition in court last week, and they asked for her to be placed on supervised release so that they could get her out of the facility in which she was allegedly being assaulted. And the lawyers said that after she spoke out, after the initial report came out, she felt unsafe at the ICE facility because guards and other immigrants began making comments to her that were intimidating. So one guard in particular was quoted as saying, "You need to watch out for yourself." And according to the Texas Tribune journalists, based on what the woman allegedly experienced in Mexico, she qualified for something known as a U visa status. So this legal status is provided to immigrants who are the victims of crime in their home country. But for some reason, we wouldn't give that to her. We refused and instead sent her right back to the people who had assaulted and threatened her. So this woman, she was a 35-year-old immigrant. She had been held at this ICE detention facility for nearly a year before they deported her. Why all of a sudden the rush, I don't know. And for those of you who missed my last report about this, here's a breakdown on what the allegations are, or at least some of them. I'll just sum it up for you real quick. She told her attorney that several guards forcibly kissed her and that one had touched her genitals. And according to this woman, one guard even told her that if she behaved, this is a direct quote, if she behaved, he would help her be released. When she complained to a captain in the facility, he essentially ignored it. And she said that one of the officers who had assaulted her appeared to be removed. He was missing for a period of time from the area in which she was being held. But then later he returned and started guarding her area again. And he, quote, became increasingly aggressive and intimidating. And according to the complaint filed by her attorneys, quote, she has lived in constant panic that he may do something against her again. The legal filing also alleges that one lieutenant was promoted even though several women had complained to his bosses and authorities about his abuse. And another woman, another former detainee, told the news outlet that she was repeatedly harassed in the El Paso facility and that guards even reached out to her after she was released. She also alleges that guards encouraged women to sign up for anti-anxiety medication, and this just absolutely blew my mind. The reason they wanted these women to sign up to be provided medication was because the guards who were in charge of dispensing the medication at night had access to an enclosed area of the facility where there were no cameras. And this is just sickening. She also said that, quote, most women who are still there are scared of saying anything. You don't know what they can do. And yeah, I mean, there's a power dynamic going on here. These women are being held against their will. They're in a country that they don't know, where they don't speak the language. Many of them have already been traumatized and assaulted, as this woman, the one who was deported. And they know that they could be deported if they speak out. I mean, how sick is that? These guards literally hold their life and future in their hands. It's horrific what we are dealing with, what we're putting these women through. So her attorneys say that she was interviewed extensively by the FBI prior to her deportation, but within 3 days of the attorneys filing a formal complaint on her behalf, the Inspector General reversed their earlier decision and told ICE that they could in fact deport her. Now remember, we pay for these facilities. Not only that, but these are privately owned detention facilities that we as taxpayers foot the bill for. This is not a government-run facility. So essentially, we're paying for a place where women who have often already been victimized in their own countries can come to be locked up and then assaulted and abused more. And again, I ask, why do we have men guarding women? And why are our tax dollars being used to make private entities wealthy? And let's not forget either that a lot of our government officials, a lot of our so-called leaders, the people we put in office, own stock in these private companies. It literally lines their pockets and financially benefits them to lock up more immigrants. The more facilities that they have to build and the more money that they can basically siphon from us, from our tax dollars, to pay for the guards and the facilities to be built and the food and everything else for these facilities, makes our so-called leaders more wealthy. Think of how crazy that is. We are not only paying them an exorbitant salary to vote against the things we want and to vote for the things we don't want, because they don't listen to us whatsoever. What we want, what the average American wants, does not matter and factor into the decisions of our lawmakers hardly at all, unless they stand to be reelected soon. Then all of a sudden they give a damn what we have to say, because all they care about, for the most part, is appeasing their wealthy donors until it comes time for a vote, because there's not as many of the wealthy donors to vote for them as there are of us. But then we put even more money in their pockets by allowing them to hold investments in private companies that they vote to give contracts to. It is obscene. It is so over the top and corrupt. It's insane the way things work in this country. No person in a position of authority in this country, no one who has in any way, shape, or form an effect and a vote to give on laws in this country or providing contracts to entities should ever be allowed to invest in those entities. Sorry to get off on this tangent about the payments. I mean, what is happening to these women is just as obscene, and even more so because it's affecting them physically, emotionally, psychologically, and then we're sending them back to danger. What is wrong with our country? What the hell has happened to us? And Republicans are the worst as far as the immigration issues go. They seriously do not give a damn. They don't want to help any immigrants. It is sickening. Party of family values, but they don't give a shit about people who are starving, people who have no money, women who have been violated. Yeah, pro-life. So pro-life. Give me a freaking break. All right, guys. Enough for my rant. As always, like, share, subscribe. If I hear any more on these cases, I will let you know. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.